Hello, my name is Taryn Espinosa, and I will be speaking to you about the Israeli-Palestine religious conflict. Imagine a war zone where every day is a battle to fight for what you believe in. Do you have the courage to die for your religion? Or can you put aside your differences and pray for a day where violence will one day not be the answer? This is a reality for children and adults alike living in Israel and Palestine. For 50 years, this region has been ravaged by incredible violence and suicide bombers, and it has been dubbed the world's worst ongoing religious war in history. My hope by informing you is that you can better understand international conflicts and understand why peace is not as easily obtained as one may think. The first day that I researched, I used Wikipedia to get a basic timeline of events that have led up to this intense conflict. What I found was that Palestine fell under the control of Israel after the Six-Day War of 1967. Since then, Israel has given Palestine back little portions of the country for them to inhabit, while many other refugees of Palestine have fled to other countries, including the United States and Egypt. These two portions of the country that have been given back are West Bank and Gaza. In these two areas, the Palestinians have practically been held prisoners, and with Israelis' tight leash, there's been a tense war zone that has led to suicide bombers and religious martyrs and other acts of terrorism. Many ask, why this terror? There are many key issues that lead up to the intensified war that we know today. First off, I made a map to kind of give you an idea of what area I'm talking about. The pink is Israel and all Israel territory. And this is Tel Aviv, which is the official capital of Israel. The yellow represents the two areas, West Bank and Gaza, that Palestinians have control over once again. You will notice that on the banks of West Bank and Israel, Jerusalem lays right smack dab in the middle. This leads up to a very large religious conflict that I will get to in a moment. The first religious conflict that I will talk about is borders. The restrictions of weapons, especially for Gaza's uprising. You'll notice that Gaza is located right next to Egypt. Egypt smuggles weapons into Gaza in order for Gaza's Palestinians to retaliate against Israel. Israel has built up a very high security area against Egypt's border presently, so that weapons cannot be smuggled into Palestine anymore. Another large security measurement is Israel's borders around Palestine territory. They have mile-long and mile-wide territories where they will check each person coming in and out of the country to be sure that they do not have any bombs on them and they are not a religious martyr. Another important key issue is the water trade. Gaza is located right on the Mediterranean Sea, and Israel keeps a very tight leash on Gaza's border so that Gaza cannot trade internationally with any other countries in order to get weapons in. And the last main point, which is very important, ties into the religious conflict. As I mentioned before, Jerusalem is located smack dab in the middle of Israel's territory and West Bank's territory. Jerusalem is the home to three holy sites. In Israel's eyes, Jerusalem is the home to the Temple Mounds, where God was supposedly there to create Adam, the first man ever created, from the dust. In Palestine's eyes, Jerusalem is the home to the Dome on the Rock, which is where their god Muhammad was supposed to rise into the heavens on a white horse. I found the information on these holy sites from many Israel and Palestine tourism sites that I've listed in my bibliography. Another really great resource that I used when preparing for this speech was a documentary called Death in Gaza. This documentary depicts the everyday life of Palestinians where violence and murders happen every day without a second thought. What really surprised me were the children's reactions to each murder. Children would run through the streets after someone was bombed or a suicide bomber ran through the streets and pick up the body so that they could bury it with their bare hands. The children are untouched by the violence and murders, and death is just another part of life to them. When the British reporters in this documentary asked the Palestinian children what would happen if they got shot or died, the children seemed emotionally unattached and unscared of the repercussions of dying. They were told that from their parents that dying is a religious war that has been won. The honor that they would have for dying for their religion far outreaches the pain and suffering that they would feel right then and there. In the Palestinian eyes, the main reason for the war to continue on is that Palestine feels that if they give up on their religious site, Dome on the Rock in Jerusalem, and therefore their God will smite them and send them to hell. The one really great thing that I can find through all of this is that Palestine does not give up. And although that may kill many people and many innocent people, it's really refreshing to see that even though Palestine has been stripped of all material goods and all ways of fighting back, they still have one thing that Israel cannot take from them, and that is their faith. In conclusion, although Palestine has been given rights to rule themselves as a sovereign nation, Israel has not loosened their grip for fear of mass retaliation. This situation I found on Israeli-Palestine websites has escalated to hundreds of innocent people killed each year for 50 years. My hope is that by informing you of this international conflict, you can begin to understand why people go to the extreme measures that they do for their beliefs and religions, and most importantly, to protect their rights. Most importantly, in understanding this, we can start to not repeat history and learn from our mistakes. Thank you.